Hello everyone, this is Nitpicking Nerd, and I just saw the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy. I will start with the positives. I think visually it's good. The animation itself, it's three-dimensional, it's obviously very expensive. It's beautiful in a lot of places, it's exciting, even though I think some of the action scenes are a little bit too messy, meaning I'm not sure little kids will be able to understand what's even going on. It's kind of like a video game, and a lot of it is in the style of the JJ Star Trek, which is much more like Star Wars, that it's all about exciting action scenes and cool moments, and not really so much about the story. And even some of the designs and some of the sounds are like in the Kelvin timeline. And there's also all the usual tropes of, the ship having to fly sideways through some tiny crack which barely fits in, and all kinds of exciting stuff like that, which I've seen a million times before, so it's not really exciting for me, but maybe for little kids it will be exciting, so I'm not sure. Even though I think some of these action scenes are too messy and the camera is spinning all over the place and lens flares and all of that kind of too much for my taste, but it does look expensive, it does look good visually. The character designs are also not that bad actually. I actually like a lot of the minor characters, like that rock creature and even that gooey thing, which is a ripoff of Yaphet from the Orville. And they obviously try to make it as cute and funny as possible. And it just shows up out of nowhere in this episode. Maybe I fell asleep in the middle, I'm not sure where it even came from. Like suddenly it was there with them on the bridge with no explanation. I guess I might have dozed off for a moment, or I looked at something else while I was watching it. Because, story-wise, this was kind of boring, nothing really that interesting. And the villains are basically robot slave owners, which is kind of ridiculous because if they are robots and they are able to simply build robots, why do they need humanoids to do their manual labor for them? It doesn't really make any sense. And they apparently have advanced technologies, so why are they looking for this Federation starship when they seem pretty advanced already? It doesn't make any sense, unless I guess maybe that starship has some kind of super duper technology which no one else has. I guess it will be revealed later. They did say something about the starship being able to travel all over the galaxy or something, so maybe it has some kind of magic mushroom drive or a phase clock because it somehow appeared in the middle of the planet, so I guess there will be some surprises. And the ship itself looks pretty good. I don't really have any problem with it, even though it reminds me of the Kelvin timeline style, but I don't mind the style itself. And the ship is basically the only thing remotely Star Trek about this whole episode, because most of it felt much more like Star Wars kind of story. I guess except for a few aliens that are from the Star Trek universe. There's that Morn alien, there's the Medusan who needs to be encased in a robot body because otherwise anyone who looks at its true form will go crazy. That's an alien from TOS, by the way. And there's the Universal Translator, and there's the ship itself, and there's the hologram of Janeway in the very end of the episode. But apart from that, most of the story and most of the episode could have been any other generic science fiction, and a lot of it was very similar to Star Wars, especially the villains, who are basically droids who want to take over the galaxy, I guess. It was never really explained what the hell do they even want, and they seem to serve some kind of master who is kind of like an evil Zordon who sits in a glass tube all day long, giving orders, kind of like future guy from Enterprise. He's just bossing everyone around, and he seems to be from some kind of rare species with some energy abilities or something. And his daughter is serving him, even though she's not fully evil. So there's like that Darth Vader Luke kind of connection between the hero and the villain, I guess. And the main evil henchman is basically General Grievous from Star Wars with a little bit of Dr. Octopus on top, because he does have those robot tentacles. Which is not surprising when Kurtzman is a producer, because in every single show he produces there's always giant robot tentacles showing up somewhere, so it's no surprise to me that all the robots have robot tentacles. And he's basically chasing the heroes around like General Grievous, only without the funny coughing and laughing. He's just kind of a boring voice, but he does have some cool gadgets and stuff. So again, visually I don't really have a problem with the show, except some places which are a little bit too messy, that is just kind of nauseating to follow what's going on, because the camera is spinning all over the place and so much crap is flying all over the screen that it's hard to tell what's going on, and with lens flares and all of that. So a little bit too much, and I'm not sure kids will even be able to understand what's going on. And if the story is aimed for kids, because most of it is kind of simplistic, the characters are kind of children, so it's obviously aimed for kids. But so if it's aimed for kids, shouldn't the action scene be a little bit more simplistic, so that they'll be able to know what's going on, and it's kind of all over the place? with too much stuff crammed in. I found most of it kind of boring story-wise, because there is no actual story. They're basically slaves who want to escape, and that's it. That's the story. So they want to escape these villains who are looking for this starship, and the heroes find it and escape, and now the villains will be chasing them around. And that's it basically. There is no story here. There are some characters who might be cute and nice, but nothing really that interesting. The main kid, who is kind of the hero, is kind of annoying in my opinion, and the daughter of the villain, I think that's the one that has the potential for something interesting, because you know that whole dynamic of being related to the villain but against him for ideological reasons, that might be interesting, and they both come from some rare species which go extinct and they're the only ones of their kind and all of that. So I guess there might be some interesting stuff there, and the Medusan entity I guess might be interesting. And the hologram of Janeway is basically the only human character, even though it's not really a human, because every single character is an alien, and the bad guys are that evil Zordon and General Grievous. And that's it for now. There is no actual story here to discuss, and so this will be a short review because I don't really have anything to say. So visually it looks good, it's expensive, the characters have some potential. I don't want to prejudge anything. A few of them are a little bit annoying, other ones are cute. As for the other stuff and the villains and the robot tentacles and all of that stuff, I guess we'll wait and see where it goes. So that's really all I have to say about it. There's not a lot of interesting things to debate about. Very few connections to actual Star Trek. There is the ship itself, there are a few aliens that we recognize, and there's the hologram of Janeway, and that's basically it. Everything else could have been from any other science fiction show. It's very generic, it's very Star Wars like, and so that's all I really have to say about it. So I don't want to prejudge it, because it might evolve into a good show later on, but from what I've seen in the first episode, it's not very promising. It's a little bit disappointing because it's mostly Star Trek just in its name, and there is no actual story yet. Maybe there will be later. Maybe they will be exploring space and meeting new civilizations and going to new planets and seeing some original things. Maybe it will be more like Star Trek later on, but for now it seems very generic, very focused on the visuals and action scenes and not much else. So that's all I had to say about it for today. Let me know what you think and we can discuss it in the comments below, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.